Hi, good day, everyone. Again, it's me, Teacher Jules, your wisdom amazing facilitator of learning in trends, networks, and critical thinking in the 21st century. All right, so for today's video, I'm going to discuss about the topic democratic interventions. Again, our lesson for today is all about democratic interventions. But before proceeding further, let me give you an activity first, okay? Just to check how much you know about the topic since I have already provided the activity sheet, okay? So I'm sorry, I'm just using my phone, okay, for creating this video. All right, so our learning activity one would be my democracy concept mapping. Okay, so all you have to do is to complete the concept map below. Okay, to answer this question, what is democracy? Okay, so for you to be able to answer that, all you have to do is to define democracy, then identify its elements, characteristics, and examples as well. All right. Okay, so you can do that while I am discussing the lesson. All right, so what comes in your mind when you hear the word democracy? I assume that you are already familiar with this term, right? Okay, so what do we mean by democracy? Since we're talking about the democratic interventions, let's have a quick review about democracy. Okay, so when we talk about democracy, it is actually originated from the Greek word what? Demoskratos or demokratia, which means the rule of the people. All right. So, in other words, democracy is a system of government where citizens choose their representatives to form a governing body. Okay. So, in other words, it is a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. This is why democracy means the voice of the people is the voice of God. Okay? As the people are superior over the government. All right. So, democracy is actually distinct from other forms of government as the power rests among the citizenry unlike other forms. So, what are those forms? Right? Monarchy. What else? What else? What forms of governments you know? Anarchy, right? Etc. Okay. So just like I said, it is distinct from other forms of government as the power rests among the what? Citizenry. It rests among us. Okay? All right, so a democratic government focuses on freedom and opportunities for people to improve on their abilities as well as what? Express themselves for greater self determination. Okay, now, what are the elements of democracy? And so, what are the elements of democracy? So, the United Nations General Assembly adopted in 2004 resolution. Okay, so this UN, okay, UNGA actually. stands for United Nations General Assembly, adopted in 2004 a resolution laying out the essential elements of democracy, which includes the following. Okay. All right. Of course, number one is the separation and balance of power. Okay. Again, number one element is separation and balance of power. This means that the democratic government is a political authority, right? Which is divided into three. And I know that you are already familiar, right? Okay, with this political authority. Okay? We have the legislative, executive, or executive, and judicial powers. So these branches act independently of each other to prevent the concentration of power as well as to maintain check and balance. And of course, there is a check and balance. Okay. All right. So when we let's just have a quick recap about this three branches of government. The first one, like I said a while ago, legislative branch. So when we talk about legislative branch, it enacts the laws of the state according to the desires of the constituents. It is mainly comprised of what? House of Representatives and the Senate, or also known as what? The lower house and the upper house. Okay. Another branch of government is executive branch, right? So from the word itself, executive. Okay, so it implements the policy. Okay, it executes, right? The policy, executes the law. Okay, all right. Tumigas din na. The president of the land with the cabinet members carry out these functions, as we all know, right? Making sure that the approved approved laws are executed in every aspect of the citizens' lives. Okay, so there is a check and balance as well. Okay, all right, and the third branch of the government, all right, is the judiciary or the judicial branch, right? Okay, so when we talk about judicial branch or judiciary, it is responsible for giving meaning to the established laws and brings to justice those who violate the fundamental laws of the land. In other words, guys, judiciary interprets the law. Okay. All right. So to make it simple, legislative makes makes laws. Okay. Then the judiciary interprets it. Then the executive branch implements the policy. Okay. Number two, another elements of democracy. We have a pluralistic system of political parties and organizations. All right, so it is expected that a democratic system allows the rule of the majority. So representation is very necessary in every sector of the society. So hence groups, organizations, and collective efforts are recognized. Okay? So political parties are supported in democracy as they what? Peacefully mediate conflicts and the formation of political views. Such is based on the principle that each citizen has the right to represent his opinion through a civil and healthy competition of ideas. So this assumption that there are always conflicting interests within every society is the essence of pluralism. Lism. From the word itself, pluralism, right? Okay, what else? Another element of democracy, we have respect of the rule of law. Okay, as we all know that the rule of law is the principle that reiterates no one is what? Above the law. Okay? I believe that you hear that many times. Okay? All right. Somebody text me. Okay. All right. So the rule of law is against the rule of what? A dictator or an absolute ruler. So this fundamental principle also reiterates that every citizen is subject to the law, even the highest leader and the lawmakers, as all the procedures equally to all. Okay? Another element of democracy is accountability and transparency. Okay? Accountability and transparency. So, democracy adheres to the principle that the citizen should be provided with all their basic rights and freedom. So, this is an expression of democracy. However, okay, it is a common knowledge that with great powers come great responsibilities, right? So it's very popular statement. With great powers come great responsibilities. Hence, for every freedom granted is the need to perform certain roles that will be beneficial to the society itself. All right? So, when we talk about accountability, okay, is the degree to which the government needs to explain or justify what they have accomplished in relation to what was expected of them. That's why they always hold briefing, right? What do you call that? Press briefing. Okay. To explain or justify what they have accomplished. Right? So accountability is exemplified during elections where every entity in public service is assessed in relations to their output and performance. Okay. All right. So accountability is also gauged during the government official transparency, which connotes absence of corruption through honed behavior. Okay, so every public servant is accountable, okay, and must be transparent as well, right? Number five, okay, let's have number five, free and independent media. Okay, so since we're talking about free and independent media, freedom of expression is a necessary element in a democratic society. It is true, the media, that the citizenry is informed about the events that transpire in the society. A crucial role is being played by this agency as it allows transparency in the society and government. That's why media is considered as watchdog of the government. Okay? All right. So when I was in college, when I took mass communication, my professor emphasized that media are watchdogs of the government. Okay. All right. So it also convinced the people into certain realities. Okay. It convinced the people. Okay. The issues and concerns that affects their lives. Decision making in the government is learned through these agencies, right? Okay, so the media also plays a crucial role in the education of the people. Okay, so traditional radio and television programs, broadcasters like the PTV4, BBC, the CNN, right? Provide information to every sector of the society. Okay. Another element of democracy, we have the respect for human rights, of course. So we are in democratic government. We should respect human rights. So democracy requires respect and the promotion of human rights. The right to vote, okay, is an example, right? To form political parties, to own property, or to marry are necessary for democracy because those are right, right? So the sheer fact that the government provides the freedom to its constituents, then it is a fact that there is really democracy. It is the people who has to be served and no abuse can be perpetrated by the government. Okay? So taking of lives, homes are not manifestations of democracy. Right? Such is a reflection of what? Despotic rule. So democracy means what? Respect for the dignity of man by providing social services and resources to promote the well-being of the citizenry. Okay, so these are the elements of democracy. Now, what are the characteristics of democracy? All right, so let's discuss about the characteristics of democracy. Okay, so history proves that democracy did not exist in a perfect state. So democracy evolved out of the refinement of its component to respond to the needs and demands of the citizenry. Okay, now, what are the characteristics of democracy? Okay, number one, the equality before the law. Okay, so equality under the law is equality in the eyes of the law, sometimes termed as legal equality. It is the principle that reiterates that the citizens must be equally treated by the law and proven innocent until there is what? Due process. Okay, because it is already stated in our Philippine Constitution. Okay? So the law must guarantee that no person should be prejudiced in the eyes of the law. So democracy means equality, fairness, and justice. All right? Okay, so indeed, all are equal before the law. Everyone must be treated equally regardless of race, gender, and national origin, color, ethnicity, what else? Religion, and disability. Okay? So the Constitution, as the supreme of the land, should safeguard every freedom of every member of the society. Okay, another characteristics of democracy, we have this political freedom. Okay, so political freedom is one of the most important features of democratic societies. It is freedom from oppression and compulsion. So it may also be considered as the positive exercise of rights and what? Possibilities for actions as well as the exercise of social rights. Freedom from internal constraints, freedom of speech or freedom of expression, right? So we have this what we call freedom of expressions. But always remember that when you're right, okay, are right, okay, let me include myself, okay, are right ends when the right of others begin. Okay? Okay? A right ends when the right of others begins. Okay? All right, so number 3, okay? Let me just remove this. Of course, the rule of law. Ayan, ay matanggal. Okay? All right. Just bear with me, okay? I'm using my mobile phone as of the moment. Okay? All right, so the rule of law. So every law is a product of people represented by their congressman. Okay, so the law is the supreme factor that runs the government, and nobody is above the law, no matter who you are. Okay, always remember that the law protects and promotes the citizenry, and so nobody can be over the law. So the rule of law states that every citizen should participate in the elections as the basic features of democracy. This is also known as what? The right of suffrage. Okay, where all voters can participate freely and fully in the life of their society. So everybody has a say in the fate of their society, which happens during the time of elections, whether on a local or national level. All right, so we have already defined democracy, and I have also discussed about the elements and its characteristics. Okay, all right, so before we end this lesson, okay, let's have an activity, okay, learning activity entitled Democratic Practices in the Philippines. Okay. All right. So all you have to do is write your answer using the graphic organizer below. Okay. Then write the examples. Okay. I'm sorry. Kindly include the importance as well. Kindly add the importance based on the concepts that we have learned. Since I've already discussed about the characteristics and elements of democracy. Okay, so write down the importance, okay, of democracy as well. Okay, aside from this one. Okay, so this will be your assignment. Okay, so all right, so that ends our lesson. This is my reference. Okay, references nakalagay. All right, so thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.